Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm really excited to be joined today by Tige Charity. He's an actor. You can see him everywhere. He's been in Bosch, Danger Force, a little bit more currently, The Wire. He's done so much work, so many projects over the last 20 plus years. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
No, definitely. I want to talk about sort of how you initially got the acting bug and just really started to just basically take it by force, literally.
Initially?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember the initial.
Okay.
My family has stories about me as a little kid, standing on the kitchen countertop singing Kool in the Gang, doing church plays and poems and things I don't have any recollection of.
Right.
So, according to them, it's always been there.
It's been there.
So I like to tell people I didn't get into acting. Acting got into me.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I was in the 5th grade when I did my first school play and kind of fell in love with it.
Sure. When do you feel that specific moment happened where you're like, okay, I've arrived and I'm really going to do this for real? I love this.
That happened when I was in the 9th grade. I joined the drama club.
Right.
And when I was in middle school, I'd heard about an older guy, upperclassman, a high schooler, who was really, really good.
Right.
And the drama club at that time had gone to 8 straight state competitions.
Right. Wow.
We'd compete in the local, and then advance to the regional, then to the state.
Right.
And Greg was like the #1 actor.
Right.
His reputation preceded him. So, but when I got to the 9th grade, I was in high school.
Right.
Greg got in trouble, and they were forced to use me. Hadn't done a play.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm this rookie, basically. Hadn't done a play since 5th grade.
Right.
But when it was over,
Sure.
I did, and everybody came up and congratulated me and told me what a good job I had done. My football coach gave me a big bear hug, and everybody. And Mr. Powell, who was in charge of the drama club, told me that I did a better job than Greg ever could have.
Interesting. Wow.
And at that moment,
Sure.
I decided this is what I want to do.
Sure. And so then how did you pursue it? How did you begin to put in that work? Because it's a big jump to do something even at the state level and then go to Hollywood and do big shows and movies.
Well, after I graduated high school, I went to Howard University,
Right.
HU, and I majored in theater.
Sure.
So that's where I got my start, at Howard, studying theater, and I got a degree in theater there. But while I was there, I started working locally on a lot of the film and TV projects there, industrial films and things of that sort. And then I got work on The Wire.
Right, before you even graduated.
Before I graduated.
Wow.
Actually, no, The Corner.
Okay.
I did Homicide.
Sure.
Homicide was the first job. See, I was blessed.
Sure,
I did a number of jobs in that same area, but the first one was Homicide. Homicide: Life on the Street, an old NBC show, starring Andre Braugher.
Sure.
That was my first real television guest star. That's how I joined SAG. And I was still in college, and I'm like, this is wonderful. I got paid like $3,000 or something. That's a lot of money for a kid in college.
Yes.
Today.
Right.
We're talking back in, in the 90s.
Couple of days ago. Right.
So that's how I got started at Howard and doing those local projects in the DC, Baltimore area.
Sure. How'd you develop that tenacity to be able to not see rejections or no or auditions as anything but a stepping stone to a yes?
I'm still working on that. I don't like rejection, man. It's no fun at all. It still confuses me.
Yeah.
It bothers me when they say no. It does. I don't like hearing no.
Sure.
I don't just shake the. Yeah. I mean, I keep going on.
Sure.
That's just a matter of faith.
Right.
Trusting in God.
Right.
But I can confused and confounded by how they can get it wrong so many times.
Sure.
Because I've been rejected a lot. So.
Right. I think The Wire doesn't fully get its props, but what are some of the shows that you've done that you really sort of enjoyed the performance that you were able to put in?
Well, I've been fortunate to have done a lot of television and films, independent films and studio films as well. But the project that I'm most proud of isn't because of my work and my performance. I didn't have a great role in it. Right. Not a really, really big role, big. But it was something the Lord made. An HBO show. It was a film about Vivian Thomas. It's one of those rarely known rarely heard of Black history stories.
Sure.
About the self-taught doctor, self-taught, self-trained at Johns Hopkins.
Sure.
He wound up training doctors at Johns Hopkins, the premier medical institution in the country, but he was never formally a doctor himself.
Sure.
So that's the project that I'm most proud to have been a part of, because it's such a wonderful story about overcoming adversity, and sticking to it, which is everything an artist needs.
Sure. When one looks at your demo reel, your intensity and your passion comes across, whether it's Grey's Anatomy or any of the type of work that you're doing, that you have in there, and you wrap it up interestingly with this very poignant, almost like a screen test, where there's really no script and stage and things like that, and it's an amazing situation where a spouse has just potentially died. Just talk to us about sort of your selection and choosing that, because it was I've looked at a lot of tapes, and that was very moving.
Well, thank you first, I appreciate it. I think the one with the spouse I think that was an episode of Grey's Anatomy.
Right. Yeah.
That's one of, as far as my performance goes, that's one of the projects that I'm most proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Real character work there.
Sure.
The question is why they chose me,
Right.
because I don't refuse a lot of stuff. So I'm not, I've been fortunate. I'm blessed by the grace of God. I'm a working actor. It's what I get to do for a living, and I can't ever take that for granted. But I'm not rich and famous like a lot of A-list celebrities. I'm not there yet, but I am fortunate to do the work that I love.
Right.
So I don't turn down a lot, but I do get some great opportunities too.
Sure.
And that's just one of them. I give God the credit and the glory for all of that, because I didn't have to get that job, but I did.
Yeah.
And when I auditioned, they were moved in the audition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's always good when they've seen. I don't know how many dozens of people had come through that day doing the exact same scene,
Right.
exact same words and material, but when I did it, they were quiet.
Right. Sure.
Wow.
Right.
So I said, okay, that went well.
Sure. Well, you emote well and you own it. Talking about spouses and giving back, talk to us about the charity with your wife that you all do.
Yeah, my wife, Tige Charity, is the founder and the executive director of a nonprofit called Kids in the Spotlight.
Yes.
She's been doing it for 14 years.
Right.
And for 14 years, Kids in the Spotlight has been training kids in foster care to make their own short films. They get lessons in writing and acting from professionals in the industry, and then we shoot the films that the kids themselves write and star in. And once a year, we have a big awards ceremony where we basically recreate the Oscar night experience. So there's red carpet, there's celebrity hosts, celebrity presenters, media. The place is always packed. Whatever venue, we've done it at Fox Studios, we've done it at Paramount, wherever we go, it's always packed. And the kids come up, they get awards for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Film, and they give their speeches. We just recreate the whole Oscar night experience for these kids. And just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, my wife had a ribbon cutting ceremony because Kids in the Spotlight has its own production studio now, where people who are professional filmmakers or podcasters or casting, whatever you're looking to do, you can do it at this studio now. They got a number of different sets of the space. It's in Van Nuys, and it's there to help raise money for the organization and to create more opportunities for the kids in the program.
Sure. No, it's a wonderful thing. You guys have been together throughout this entire journey, and united in love and in your faith, and it comes across in all this giving back. Talk to us about your upcoming projects.
Upcoming projects. Right now, well, the last acting job I did was a film with Kevin Costner. It's called Horizon. I'm not sure when they're going to release it. There are actually 4 movies, part 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's another Western, kind of in the same line as Dances with Wolves. And, I mean, Kevin Costner, he's kind of got a lockdown on the whole Western thing now.
Right.
But it's I was in the first film. No one has said yet if I'll be in part 2, 3, or 4. But they're each like a 2-hour-long movie. Great experience. Wonderful working with him. So look for Horizon. I don't know exactly. They don't have a release date yet, but it's somewhere on the horizon.
Sure.
So,
right. Well, hopefully you'll come back on the horizon.
Yeah. And I'm also right now producing, directing, a documentary about my family history, the Charity family. I'm from Surrey County, Virginia, small town in Virginia, southeast Virginia, Hampton Roads area, near Colonial Williamsburg, Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk. The Charity family has been in Surrey County for about 400 years.
Right.
We've been there since the 1600s.
Right.
And we've been free, in quotes, all this time. So I'm doing a documentary to explore the history of my family and the foundation, the roots of my family, the Charity family in Surrey County, Virginia.
Excellent, amazing. I mean, it's so wonderful to hear that you're going back and really bringing that whole story out, and also just continuing to bring your passion and your enthusiasm for film, to the stage. Because you work with young kids, that young person that looks up to you and says, "Hey, I want to get to where he's at," and things like that. What words of encouragement do you have for some of the foster kids and kids who are not in foster who kind of aspire to be in the business?
First, it can be done. Just don't quit.
Right.
I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. If you just stick to it, I tell them all, you can do this. There's not one of you that can't do it. You may have varying degrees of success, depending on how you define success. Some people will work more than others. That's just the way it goes.
Right.
But all of you can do this. Just stick to it. Don't quit. There are a lot of opportunities out there. Right. And I said the fortunate thing for them is that they don't have to wait for anybody to hire them. When I came along, that's all there was when I first started out.
You can create.
But now you can create material, create your own projects on your cell phone.
Right, exactly right.
So
it's within your hands.
Yeah, and you've got any number of venues.
Right.
Social media platforms to air what you created. So you can absolutely do this. That's the main thing. It can be done. Don't think that it can't be.
Sure.
I told them everybody can't be president. If I told you that, you'd be lying.
Right.
It'd be a lie.
Exactly.
But every one of you can be an actor.
Sure.
If that's what you want to do.
Sure. Talk to us about Danger Force and the role that you're playing with that.
Okay. Danger Force is it's a children's series on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Not just for children. Adults are welcome to watch it.
Sure. Okay.
But I've got a 10-year-old daughter who loves the show. Sure. That's the coolest thing ever. Because most of what I do and have done, she can't even see. No. Or we, at least in my house, we won't allow her to see it.
Right.
But it's a story about 4 kids with superpowers, and 2 of them are twins, a twin boy and girl, and I'm the father. So I have this recurring role as the father of 2 kids with superhero powers.
Right.
And we're now, they just finished shooting season 3.
Got it.
And it just aired a couple days ago.
Sure.
The first episode of season 3 just aired, so you can catch me on Danger Force on Nickelodeon now.
Sure. What do you think is the takeaway for kids, but also for the parents that may be watching from that series?
Honestly, diversity. They clearly, someone made a decision to, these kids are not all gonna be white.
Sure.
So there's 2 black kids, and there's another one you look at, what was she, mixed, she Asian, but the takeaway is that everybody's included.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an example of inclusion.
Sure.
And nobody is missing out.
Sure.
No white kids are harmed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, all the excuses some people use for not having diversity.
Sure.
I think that is the biggest, for me, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that there's room for everybody. Sure. And that superheroes can look like any of us.
Sure.
They're male and female, and various ethnicities and cultural backgrounds as well.
Awesome. Last point to bring out, what do you feel you've learned most about yourself through this entire process and journey?
This whole acting thing,
Right.
I've learned about myself that faith is real. I've learned that about myself, that my faith is real, because I see people with regular, for lack of a better expression, regular jobs, where they get a steady paycheck, and frankly, most of these folks couldn't do what I do. I am literally living by faith every day. There is no guarantee I'll ever get another job.
Right.
None. And nobody owes it to me. So
Sure.
I don't have any contract guaranteeing me another job. My entire life is a walk by faith. And I've learned that I have greater faith than most people do, to be frank. Just to be frank, that is the truth. We talk about it, but I'm actually living it. And to God be the glory, because the faith that I have is itself a gift. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I can't even take credit for that.
Sure. No, absolutely. No, that's wonderfully insightful. I think that it kind of helps inspire us to realize that, we should always depend on a paycheck, but certainly in this field, the desire to create, to emote, and to give, which certainly comes across in every single one of your performances, is not only a blessing, but something you don't take for granted, you know, at any point in time. And I think that's a secret for all of us to really realize, hey, we're only as good as, you know, what we put out, but we don't need to get so full of ourselves as to think we're more than what we are.
Right.
You know? So thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for sharing and your work, because it really pulls you in, and I love the intensity.
That's what I like to hear, man. You know how to flatter actors.
Hey. If it works, work it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.